spots, keep some of these key players fresh down the stretch. Isn't that really one of the major jobs for these coaches in a battle like this, Tom, is you pick your moments for your key contributors to make sure there's at least some freshness when the game is on the line.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult at this level. We mentioned that in North Buncombe, 31 players, 19 are seniors, and 8 go both ways. There are 10 seniors that start on defense, and so it is a game somewhat of attrition. Sun is going to go down, and after it goes down, it's going to be, I think, a very pleasant evening here compared to 1 week ago.
Alex Rash on second down and about 8. Waiting to determine the destiny of this drive. Its prominence just increased. Loose is Hayden Burnett, and he will not be turned aside before he reaches the end zone. They were shut out a season ago in this rivalry matchup. It will not be the case this go round. First blood drawn by the Black Hawks of North Buncombe, and a 6-0 lead in effect thanks to this run by Hayden Burnett.
Well, set it up at the point of attack, but once he got into the secondary, he showed the second level of acceleration as he took the distance for the score.
They celebrate the United Federal Credit Union touchdown on the North Buncombe side, and the home team out to a 6-0 lead. Here's the effort of Ryan Moffitt to try and make it 7. As he puts a foot into this at the 10-yard line, his kick is true. First 7 on the board in the battle for possession of the jug, favoring North Buncombe on this run by Burnett. The Earl Scruggs Music Festival is coming to the Tryon International Equestrian Center September 1st through 3rd. This 3-day event features performances by some of the most talented musicians in the bluegrass world. Hosted by Jerry Douglas, the extensive 2023 lineup will welcome a full lineup of talented bluegrass artists like Del McCurry and Emmylou Harris. Visit earlscruggsmusicfest.com or scan the code to purchase tickets today. At the 5-minute mark, even first period, North Buncombe having claimed the lead. 5 plays, 61 yards. Just over 2.5 minutes, 2:37 to be specific on the march. And a 45-yard run for Burnett, giving the home team a 7-0 lead. So already the script to this point flipped from a season ago, Tom.
Oh, yeah, and then keep the ball on the ground is what North Buncombe wants to do. And, you know, the first play of the game, Jason's quarterback sneak. I mean, all right, let's establish the point of attack there. And then once the big guys got it blocked up front, and, you know, off to a really good start. And it has been a couple of years since they've been able to win this ball game with Madison.
Good crowd, a lot of red, white, and blue on the far side, a great deal of black, and plenty to celebrate in it for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe thus far. And slipping up as he crosses the 23-yard line, the 24, about all that's there for Cade Woody. Cade Woody, another of those we mentioned. We mentioned Levi Shelton, talked about Ball's performance a year ago, Kel Ball, and also the work that was done by the former QB of the Patriots. So you see another one of those who is back for another dose of this rivalry and back for another dose of offensive opportunity. He is the quarterback leading this group out to the charge. Boy, you really saw in his body language, Tom, at the end of that last drive, as he lined up for protection on the punt. He knew, you could see it in his heart and his mind bubbling over into his body language, what might have been on that drive were it not for a couple of penalties. We'll see if that changes here. Turns gives this off to Max Shelton, who is good for a handful up to the 29-yard line.
Well, again, it's early on in this game, 4:41 and rolling first quarter, but down 7-0. It's a game we talked about that Madison, to their first two games at Polk and against Hayesville, lost 33-7 and 55-20, down 26-7.5 in game one, and got away from them early in game two. So I think this is a pretty important drive, even though it's so early on to the ball game.
Going to turn this time, hand it off. Crawford working his way across the 35 to the 37. So number of different, actually check that. That's another handoff in the direction of Levi Shelton, who we saw handle the first of the rushing responsibilities in this game for the Patriots. And that's good for a Hendersonville Family Dental first down.
That's what they need, and you need to stay away from the penalties that afflicted them on the first series of plays that they did running, including the kickoff, and actually converted one on a major league third down, and a 4th down and 1. Got a big play on 3rd down to provide that opportunity, but they need to keep it going right here.
Coach Eckstein, his staff looking on, his team going to work in an early deficit. This kept near that far side hash and up near the 38-yard line. Big hand clap coming out of there after a job well done from Eli Morgan, the junior.
Yeah, he gets an opportunity to play, and again, I think both coaches, we visited with them and talking about they want to establish the culture. They want to establish one of family. And again, on Friday night rivals, we were at Hendersonville with West Henderson, and they were about 4 miles apart. They're 20 minutes apart as well. So that has a lot of emotion, particularly early in a game like this.
Yeah, and you know what you love about this one? As the second down play starts, and once more, it's Dallas Bartlett rolling this way. He's going to be gathered up, and among others there to make the stop, Hayden Burnett, who we told you they'll be playing both ways. He had the touchdown run just a little bit ago. He's in on the stop this time around.
Yeah, really good job to funnel it back inside. We've seen Bartlett have some success coming back the other way, but he funneled him right into Ephraim Helmling as well in the combination tackle there.
Jacob Nix provided a moment there as he forced him to turn back inside just a bit by working through his offensive counterpart. Here's a 3rd down, and they're going to call it 5. Bartlett has a man, first down yardage, and much more to the 40-yard line of the Blackhawks on this catch by Drake Marshall.
Yeah, roll out, give him time to throw, cutting across the field and wide open. And this time, laid it right there on the line, rolling to his left. Make sure you catch it. That's the key. And a nice job to do that and turn it upfield. Drake Marshall did to get a couple more.
That's another Hendersonville Family Dental first down. You think about family, you talked about the closeness in proximity, the closeness in approach for these teams a little bit ago. Just finishing on that point we were going to make. What you love about this rivalry, both sides saying, yes, this is about the competition, but it's about so much more than the competition. It's about the community. These communities certainly shining on this night. Quite a battle brewing in this first half between them as stretching for the 40-yard line, not quite able to get there, is Dallas Bartlett as he runs into a host of black jerseys that time around. 90 seconds or so remaining in the opening period, and Madison looking to answer the North Buncombe touchdown on the previous drive.
I mean, that's what we were talking about last week, the West Henderson and Hendersonville. I don't know how many possessions that Hendersonville had, or West Henderson, a lot of it, but here we're at 1:15 and rolling. Second possession for Madison, 1 and a touchdown.
Well, think about Madison a year ago. We talked about the 70-yard run, the quick touchdown. Then you had the onside kick, the quick touchdown that followed that. Then they played keep away the rest of the way. Just a handful of possessions for both teams in the second half, Tom, in what would be marked by a goal line stand and end up being a shutout as the defense was the headliner. So you're right. The Ironman football, one of the big stories. The other big story, how many times will you even access the football in this game?
Yeah, that's, I mean, particularly when you're talking about North Buncombe and what they want to do. And, you know, you're developing a young quarterback, and that's a good call right there. Just a 2-step drop, quick toss to the outside. Galt caught it, and Woody was out there on the edge to help block as well for him.
Well, he let you know it. Dallas Bartlett said, yep, we got him to jump. Clap those hands. And here came the entire cavalry on that front line for North Buncombe, and the offsides call will walk off 5 more.
Yep, he got a young man to come across. That was Philip Swetlove on the line of scrimmage. 5'10", 240 is senior.
He wasn't by himself.
Well, Dupree is 260 right next to him, and then Kenyon Peak at 210 up front as well, part of a 3-down look, and it'll vary as time goes on.
Still third down, third and short now, though, much more manageable for Bartlett. Plenty in the backfield with him. He's going to decide to give this to his back, who on second effort gets the job done. Levi Shelton across the 30, and he has enough to move the chains. Yet one more Hendersonville Family Dental first down for the Patriots.
Now Jackson Eubanks, eventually the middle linebacker, is going to make the play. 6'2", 220 senior, but the strength at 190 to be able to break the contact, which is about the line of scrimmage, and be able to power forward, keep the drive alive.
Levi Shelton doing the heavy lifting on the third down play. And now they're set up on the 27-yard line with a fresh set and a Hendersonville Family Dental first down. Still hanging on to it is Bartlett. And at the last moment, ends up working it into the grasp of Levi Shelton. It was around the corner, Tom. But he's near first down yardage again.
I'll tell you, well done. Now watch him as he strings it out, and he's waiting for the penetration to come. And at the last second, they kept that pitch relationship, and that's tough to do, not get ahead of it and not run out of room. They're able to turn it up and get about 5 more yards. Well done.
Vintage option football into the red zone. The First Bank Red Zone sponsoring each opportunity at close proximity for these teams tonight. First Bank, 21 locations across Western North Carolina and the Upstate to serve you in the Carolinas. Stays on the ground inside that First Bank red zone to Levi Shelton once more, and that is enough for yet another Hendersonville Family Dental first down. Maybe the last one of the quarter, we'll see, as the clock rolls inside 20 seconds on this drive.
And went behind the center, Tucker Roberts at 5'10", 260, a junior, and Peyton Jessup, the sophomore, at left guard, 6'1", 210. Opened just a crease there, and that's all that Shelton needed.
There is a first down still available at the 4-yard line on this drive, but it will not be secured in this quarter, as they will opt to let the time run out, which means North Buncombe carries a 7-0 advantage into the second, but only with the Madison Patriots threatening in the battle for the jug. Don't let game night dinner get you stressed. Stop by Ingles for great choices from the Ingles Deli. Rotisserie chicken, fresh-made salads, a delicious hot bar, and sub bar. It's dinner and snap, then off to the game. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. Madison Patriots knocking on the door as we begin the second period with those Black Hawks. So North Buncombe leading it by a touchdown. Ball resting on the 13-yard line, and this is a 1st and 10. A first down available, obviously just inside the 3. What will they do on the first down call out of the between quarter break? More of the same, a handoff to Levi Shelton, but the Blackhawks were waiting.
Jacob Nix right there filled that hole and stood him up. Not much gain there, so really good penetration with the linebacker.
Draven Ferris also among those in there, the seniors making the difference, you see. Benjamin Dupree on your screen. Another of the seniors on the line. Lines at times for this squad.
Well, it's critical, I think, for Madison to score off of this. They have kept the ball. This is the 11th play of this drive. North Buncombe had one drive, 5 plays for a touchdown first quarter.
Second down play. Rolling out is Bartlett. He's going to tuck this, and he will be out of bounds at around the 12-yard line and touched as he worked his way out. A flag flies, and this has the potential to be troublesome for North Buncombe, as it looked like they had worked into some distance from the goal line, but all that's about to change.
Had a man open, but decided to pull it down and run, and able to turn the corner, and chasing him, I think it was Nix, and then coming in with late contact there was Hayden Burnett, and the penalty marker went down, and that's going to give Madison outstanding field position here.
They'll walk him half the distance and all the way down to the 6-yard line. Levi Shelton right there on the perimeter of that huddle. Not alone. You see Drake Marshall, whose name's been called in the wide receiving department from time to time. And all the options available to Dallas Bartlett in the mind of Patriots fans as they stand to their feet on the far side. Shelton cannot get to the corner, and the main reason for it, Jacob Nix one more time.
Tell you what, Jacob Nix has been involved in just about every play so far in this game. The linebacker, 5'11", 225, and a senior, comes across. And, you know, good job by Shelton. He is hard to bring down at 190, so he got a couple back. He was first contacted about the 10-yard line.
A little 1v1 there between the combo of Nix and Shelton, and now 4th down is coming from the 10. It was interesting on that penalty. The one thing you're not the beneficiary of, and you set it down, even though you get the yardage there, and all of a sudden a major play call coming at the 11:02 mark of the second period.
Well, we saw a 4th down play on the first possession on a 4th and 1 at the 47-yard line, and able to pick it up then on Madison's first possession. And again, we're early second quarter. Madison, this second possession, they ran 5 plays first one. This is the 12th play of this drive coming up. North Buncombe had it one time, ran 5 plays and 45-yard run by Hayden Burnett. And that's the score here, 7-0 as we play early here in the second quarter of play. So you've driven it all the way down from the 23-yard line. You've had it for more than 5.5 minutes. If you're comfortable with your kicking game, do you want to get some points? Or on the other hand, if you don't make it, then you're going to turn it over, and maybe your defense can get it done. But we've seen in just one possession that North Buncombe able to hang on to the football and able to rush it successfully.
Whatever ends up happening here, you will see the results as part of the Asheville Chevy Show at the half. You want to stick around as you'll learn more about these teams. And look at highlights and numbers, all part of the Asheville Chevy Show coming up. Consequential moment for the highlight package as the 4th down is set up at the 10. And now a flag for delay of game before the snap can take place. Well, they're going to say they awarded the timeout, so the flag picked up and the timeout was granted just prior to the play clock running down.
And that's okay, too. If you don't like what you see, we went 4 wide, and then you had the jet sweep motion coming across in front of the quarterback Bartlett there. And, use that timeout if you have it, because you don't know how many times you're going to have the opportunity to get on the scoreboard.
Well, take us inside the huddle here, Tom.
Well, if you got 4th and long, I mean, you got a young quarterback, but I tell you, so far, I mean, I've liked the body language and the leadership what we've seen out of it's early, Bartlett, the young sophomore, but I don't think you can run the football here. I think you're going to have to put it up, and maybe not your the one thing that you want to do throughout the course of the season successfully right now is throw the football. You got to work into that a little bit, but I think it'd be kind of tough to pick it up if you put it on the ground. So we'll see, but we've seen Shelton, what he's been able to do, and that's why it's always a guessing game between those on offense and those on defense.
Drake Marshall has been a target in this game already, and you certainly know what can be provided by Levi Shelton out of the backfield. It'll roll this way, looking the direction where both Cade Woody and Drake Marshall are located, but it falls at their feet and incomplete. On the coverage over there was Dane Houston, and the Blackhawks with a goal line stand of their own. How about ripping a play out of your opponent's playbook? You strike first if you're North Buncombe, and then you come away with the goal line stand. Those were 2 of the catalysts for the Patriots win a year ago, and so far those same 2 items belong to the Blackhawks this time around.
Yeah, and you had a chance there and just couldn't bring it in. But an effective drive, but defensively, I used to work a lot of college games and work with a defensive coordinator who was a color analyst. He said, doesn't count till they cross the double stripes. So
nobody did this time around, and they will start from inside their own 10-yard line with the Blackhawks. They will keep it on the ground and grind out a few more yards up across the 14 to right at the 15-yard line on that first down carry. Boy, what a lift for this Blackhawks squad. As you see, Grant Byrnes come out of the pile, able to turn aside. A couple of different pushes I think you have to point to in this game so far for the Patriots. The first drive, which was herky-jerky because of all the penalties that brought back a couple of long runs. And then here, the chance on the doorstep that was turned away by the defensive stand. Those are the 2 moments for North Buncombe thus far, in addition to the 5-play, 61-yard touchdown drive that stands as the difference in the game.
I'll tell you, Jason, we talk about one of the mantras is toughness for this North Buncombe team. The first play of the game, your quarterback, Attic Rash. Now, he's a big guy, 6 feet 210, was a quarterback sneak, and we saw one there again as well. So part of the repertoire of this offensive football team is to have your quarterback carry the ball. You don't see a lot of quarterback sneaks unless you're on the goal line or short yardage situations.
3rd down coming. Going to be turned and given to Grant Byers this time. And on 3rd down and about 3, he goes beyond the sticks, and that's going to be for a first down.
See, and the other thing, Jason, is you're going to run the football, and so you creep up. You're going to put 8 in the box. You're going to load it. And then what can happen is what we saw. If you break the line of scrimmage, then the opportunity exists for a big play. You may get 1, you may get 2, you may get 5, and you may get 45 for a touchdown.
Workman-like effort as they methodically work from the shadow of their own goal line. Blackhawks now up to the 22. And up under center goes Alex Rash. And digging, working, striving for just a couple of yards on the give is Jackson Eubanks. You talk about a workman-like effort, Tom. We don't need to let the night slip by without mentioning that Blue Ridge Cabinet Connection thrilled to announce a generous donation of a pair of $2,000 vouchers to North Buncombe and Madison High as part of the Career and Technical Education Carpentry and Construction Program. CTE Carpentry and Construction Program for the Blackhawks, for the Patriots, dedicated to cultivating essential skills and expertise in various trades, including carpentry, masonry, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all the things we wish we could do.
Oh,
right?
my gosh, I wish I had that kind of ability. So
Rodney
congratulations.
will be presenting both schools with those vouchers during halftime tonight, and we wanted to say a big thank you to Blue Ridge Cabinet Connection for providing those 2 key vouchers. Training these young men in things beyond the white lines is what really are the skills they will need to be successful in the game of life, Tom.
I'll tell you, that's a tremendous effort and appreciative to provide that opportunity for both schools.
Timeout being taken at the 8:20 mark. As we mentioned, a little bit of a workmanlike drive materializing for North Buncombe here. And one thing we know about the fans on the near side thus far, they have had plenty to smile about. Here's our Asheville Smiles Smile Cam as a result of a 7-0 lead they carried into this second quarter. Much to celebrate tonight thus far for the Black Hawks.
You got to love high school football. It's back, and everybody excited to be here. Good crowd on both sides. We talked about the proximity between these two teams. We got a really good ball game going so far.
And darkness beginning to fall a little earlier in the evening, right? Which tells you you're getting into the fall area. The lights coming on here in the press box, surprisingly enough, which reminds you that we are getting a little deeper into the year. It's September, Tom. I don't know if you noticed when you turned the calendar this morning, but September football in full effect on this night.
Yeah, quite the concept to have the lights on in the press box, right?
Oh, the bright lights are shining down on the field where the battle for the jug is taking place between Madison and North Buncombe. And before they go back at it on second down, flags fly. Key drive, you get the sense as North Buncombe tries to change the field, and this 5-yard walk-off will help to that end. Well, there's some of the youngest of the cheerleaders in training. How about Steve on our crew? His connections here. His daughter among those in the leadership group for the cheerleading squad. He said, I'm going to be there Friday night. We always enjoy seeing Steve when he's working the games. He said, I'm going to be there just enjoying it and handling the family responsibilities. It is a reminder of just what a family environment this is. High school football in North Carolina.
He came up to say hi to me and you, and we've worked with Steve a long time. And I had a technical question. I said, now, if I ask you, is it going to cost me $150? Can I move this piece of equipment? He goes, hey, I'm a civilian tonight, man. Move it if you want.
Yep, he is enjoying the football as so many of you are at home. We're happy to have you with us on Bojangles Friday Night Rivals. 7-0 lead for North Buncombe. 3rd down and 1 coming for the Blackhawks from the 33. This is going to be given off to Burnett, and it looked like he was hemmed up shy of the 30. Instead, turns it upfield around the corner, and he'll have a first down. A fresh set coming. Another nice run for Hayden Burnett.
And I'll tell you what, Madison had what they wanted right there, but he was able to tiptoe and get along the sideline, set that up, and then his acceleration. Man, that's an outstanding run because it looked like Madison had that one to a certain extent, the ability to get off the field maybe.
And Hayden Burnett, who had the 45-yard touchdown run that capped the 5-play 61-yard drive, which is responsible for the only scoring of the night back in the first quarter, has another premier moment here. Football on the ground, and it appears as if the Patriots have fallen on it. The first consequential moment defensively of the night from a turnover standpoint belongs to the Patriots. Is coming out of there with the football is the 10th grader, Ivan Leonard, and it will belong to Madison inside North Buncombe territory.
Yeah, just stacked up right in the middle. I mean, really good penetration there, and then a little bit of a mishandle there. And too bad his name's not Johnny, but Johnny on the spot makes the play right there.
Got to love the celebration of each of these moments. You see the difficulty on the exchange, and he falls right on the football. Tom, a drive that looked promising for North Buncombe snuffed out on this turnover, which will set the Patriots up at the 34-yard line of the Blackhawks. Just love the elation on display from the recovery of Ivan Leonard. On the turn, give this to Max Shelton. Max Shelton obviously wearing jersey number 35. It's Levi Shelton, the senior, wearing jersey number 22. It's the 10th grader getting the call this time around.
5'9", 190, powerful runner inside as well. It's a very young Madison team that you talked with Coach X about in our pregame show today. 4 seniors, 4 juniors, 3 sophomores start. They're coming off a 3-8 season, but they didn't make it to the playoffs. Got beat by Reidsville, and you do all the state championship games in North Carolina for Sinclair every year, and Reed know how good Reidsville is.
Yeah, Titletown. They find their way, it seems, into the depths of the North Carolina playoffs year in and year out. This is going to be about 4 yards, at least 3 on the carry. It's Shelton this time around. How about that? Levi Shelton in this personnel grouping, along with Max Shelton, both the senior and the 10th grader. Talk about just what it means to be under the bright lights on this Friday night. And a third down coming for the Patriots, in which they need a long 4 down to the 24. Nowhere to run. The gap closed up. It's going to be another of those seniors. That was Svetvab who gets over there and brings the ball carrier to the ground. How about that effort by Philip Svetvab?
Yeah, at 5'10", 240 coming backside. Great job downfield, nowhere to throw it, and just ran out of real estate over there. This is a huge, I think, a possession given where Madison was able to take it over at the 34-yard line after the fumble recovery.
Well, let's see if they can do anything with the turnover. It's going to require a 4th down conversion from greater distance now. It'll be called a 4th and 9.
Because that
looking for a little instruction as he comes to the near side is Eli Morgan, and not sure if that's there's the coach him up moment as he does come off ahead of the 4th down play. Here's the snap. Bartlett under heavy pressure. He's going to tuck this. A lot of real estate there, but coming up and stopping him right at about the marker. And that final line of defense for North Buncombe, but it appears as if he was able to get enough to move the chains, Tom. How about this? 4th down conversion for the Patriots.
I'll tell you, remarkable, and it was all set up because of outstanding penetration. Bartlett wanted to throw, but then he had to ad-lib, and it turned into an improvisation there, and he was able to turn the corner, and, he delivered the blow there at the end. The 5'8", 150-pound sophomore got the first down. That's a huge 4th down conversion to keep this drive alive.
Dallas Bartlett trying to catch his breath as he calls for the football one more time. Gives this off to Levi Shelton. And he is upended as he crosses into the First Bank red zone. Our red zone opportunities brought to you by First Bank. 16 locations in Western North Carolina. 21 locations in Western Carolina and the Upstate in our viewing audience. And I said upended. There's a glance at it for Levi Shelton.
And you're going to see running back to running back. Aiden Burnett came in and make that play on the defensive side of the football.
22, taking care of business on 22 that time around. And this is going to be tossed out in the direction of Gavin Galt. And Galt down as he caught the football. That's going to manage a couple more yards, Tom. And a 3rd down, and let's call it about 4 needed.
That's a pass play. As you get a little bit older, you give him a chance to catch it and turn up the field a little bit. He had to go down and kind of grab it off the turf, which he did a nice job of doing. But I think later on in the year, those two will have a pretty good combination there.
Tom says as you get a little bit older, because it is the 10th grader engineering this drive, Dallas Bartlett, who rolls this way now. Bartlett carrying it like a loaf of bread as he ends up inside the 10. Kind of tucked it back to the body as he worked inside the 10-yard line. That is another 1st down, and in this case, 1st and goal. So as quickly as the Patriots were turned aside on the goal line stand, they utilized the turnover and are back in business in an effort to tie once more.
Yeah, and one of the keys there, Drake Marshall out on the edge, he was able to provide the key block, cut back inside, and what you worry about that is not to hold. He did a nice job out of the edge to provide that opportunity to pick up a big gain.
Bartlett going to hand this off, and the pile is stacked up at around the 5-yard line. That's where progress ends for the ball carrier, Levi Shelton. And it's going to be 2nd down and goal. Clock climbing toward 3 minutes remaining in this opening half of action. And before we reach that 3-minute mark, timeout is taken by North Buncombe at the 3:03 mark. So the Blackhawks seeing the momentum squarely with the Patriots and wanting to take a moment to talk it over. We'll take the pause as well. Another opportunity on the doorstep for the Patriots when you return to Weaverville. Out of the timeout at the 3:03 mark as they set up shop on the 6-yard line, not far removed from a goal line stand for North Buncombe. The Patriots trying one more time as they knock on the door. After the timeout, here comes the second down and goal. And they're able to get the defense to jump.
Jason, that's the third time that North Buncombe has jumped off sides on that hard count.
And they work their way a little closer. This is going to be half the distance. And second and goal is going to come from the 3-yard line now. 3:03 to play first half. 1 touchdown advantage for North Buncombe. Patriots rushing far side and gathered up as he is met at the line of scrimmage by Jacob Nix one more time.
I tell you, Jacob Nix is having one heck of a first half. He's got to slide over there, string it out to the defensive line to begin things, and then he's able to shoot in there and make that tackle. I mean, that's a great one-on-one tackle. You always talk about this early in the year. Tackling is one of the things you always talk about, and that was outstanding.
Sets up a third down. This is such a consequential spot in the ball game, late first half. And a give to Shelton again. He's striving toward the goal line. Looks like he's about a yard shy. And, Tom, it's going to culminate in another 4th down and goal. This one from inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Madison, you're going to go, we got 1 yard, guys. Can we get it? And you make that kind of decision at the line of scrimmage about turn around, hand it off, and you keep Bartlett.
This at the 2-minute mark. Here's the snap. Going to be given to Shelton, who is stood up at the goal line, and it is a second goal line stand for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. And coming out of there to celebrate the stop, Ephraim Helming, one of those seniors, and enough black jerseys there, Tom, to keep the Patriots scoreless at the 1:54 mark.
I thought that's what was going to happen. Just going to turn around, hand it off, see if we can bang it in there for a touchdown. And, you know, the second time in this game, just an outstanding performance by the North Buncombe defense. And Coach telling us in pregame, you know, it's a developing situation on that side of the football. They haven't had much opportunity in the offensive side, but boy, 2 times they've had a great job to keep Madison out of the end zone after a 12-play drive.
The defense forcing the turnover last time. This would be a prime spot for it if you're the Patriots. And a flag comes in on the first play of the drive for North Buncombe as we work toward 1:50 to play in the half. Boy, chances have abounded for the Patriots. But North Buncombe, the only scoring, it came in the first period. A 5-play, 61-yard, 2-minute, 37-second drive capped by a 45-yard Burnett run. That's been it. Thanks to the smothering red zone defense of the Black Hawks.
This is only the 3rd possession they've had the entire game.
And they're backed up in the shadow of their goal line. Number 3 going to hand this off. Speaking of Burnett, he had 1 touchdown run of 45. This one would be for a whole lot more. He is going to go 98 yards for the Black Hawks touchdown. What a run by Hayden Burnett. As from inside the 2, he breaks loose and carries it the length of the field for the United touchdown. That's earning your keep, Tom Van Hoy.
There you go, man. I mean, we talked about the line of scrimmage, the number of people that are up that way. We saw him 45 yards, and look at this one, then, you know, kicks it into another gear and able to take it the distance for a touchdown, 98-yard run for a score. Man.
Number 22 on this night for the Hawks with a pair of touchdown runs and a 14-0 advantage in the first half would be in effect. Talk about a mirror image of a year ago, but the shoe on the other foot if the extra point is good. And in this case, it is going to be just below the crossbar. So make it 13-0 on this run, nearly the length of the field. Second touchdown of the night for Hayden Burnett. Bojangles is a proud sponsor of Friday Night Rivals. It's not just football season, it's tailgate season. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box today. And tailgate like a legend. It's Bo time. A 98-yard touchdown run from Hayden Burnett. His second touchdown of the night. And Tom, talk about the timely nature of it. It came after Madison twice threatened to score, forced a turnover sandwiched in the middle. They take over deep in their own territory. The penalty backs them up in the shadow of the goal line. And Hayden Burnett says it's of little consequence. I'll take it from here.
Yeah, you figure if you're Madison, okay, let's stop them down here, maybe get the ball back one more time. That did not happen. Right now, Madison's run 29 plays, 12 plays for North Buncombe, and Madison has had a couple of opportunities, didn't cash them in, and give North Buncombe credit. They haven't had many chances, but when they have, they've been able to score.
And again, it's 13-0, not 14-0 because of the missed extra point. But aside from that 1-point differential, a lot like this rivalry game a year ago, simply roles reversed. Here's that run one more time.
Yeah, good block out on the edge. You saw that, and a good job of the wide receiver not to hold or do something that would have this one called back. And, you know, Burnett, once he got to the outside, man, he knew what to do with it. Against East Henderson in game one, he carried 151 yards, 3 touchdowns, and runs at 13, 43, and 21, and adding to that here tonight.
You know what you love about that? All the trailing runners. Nobody able to keep up with him, and I'm talking about the ones off the field who were trying to chase him down the sideline. They got there eventually.
Yes.
And well ahead of you and I.
Good call, because I was going to bring that up, too, that those guys are sprinting on the sideline.
Here's a toss at the feet of his intended target, and that is going to be ruled incomplete. This toss by Dallas Bartlett. Well, what a first half for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. Trying to bounce back from the result a year ago, trying to continue to build upon. It's been a storied start to 2023, and it appears as if it's going to take some time for Landon Gentile to get back to his feet. They're going to go check on him. Again, Landon Gentile, who is down and will break away while the training staff sees to the North Buncombe Black Hawks. Highlights from the Battle of the Jug in Weaverville coming up at the half. All part of the Asheville Chevy Show. You'll hear from Stan and Bobby. You always do. And as well, learn a lot about both of these high schools, the great things they do in these close-knit communities in this portion of the state of North Carolina. All that, as well as those promised highlights and stats coming up as part of the Asheville Chevy Show at the half. And you know, Tom, if they get that jug, and certainly 13-0 toward that end, they're going to have to fill it up with water. And let Hayden Burnett make sure he stays hydrated. He's been one of the busiest guys. He's not the only one, though. Got players that have been dealing with some cramps and some of those late summer issues here as well. So it is great to see that Landon Gentile is now up on his feet. Going to be helped off. And you talk about all the players and how they have to play both ways and serve as trainers and everything else. Look at his teammates. Combo of Leslie Otis and another member of the ball boy group from the Black Hawks sideline. Everybody pitching in to take care of business, and you certainly hope all is well with Landon Gentile. Patriots in a whole different world now at the 122 mark. down a couple of scores after really they had to believe they were going to pull even in this game, Tom, on more than one occasion in the middle stages of the second period, but it was not to be.
They've been able to move the football. Even in the first possession of the game, there was a couple of penalties along the way, but got some confidence there. And then North Buncombe goes down and gets the big play for a touchdown. But we've seen Madison defensively make the big play, recover the football at the 34-yard line after they've been stopped on 4th and 7 at the 9-yard line, and got it down there 4th and 1 and couldn't make it. And then lo and behold, one play, 98 yards later, you find yourself down 13-0.
There's the third down play. It's up across the 25 to the 27-yard line. So forthcoming with right around a minute remaining. You know, the other piece of this, Tom, Madison had the football first. Remember that drive that saw the penalties and whatnot? So with a 13-0 lead, unless something changes in the final minute of this first half, North Buncombe would be taking that 13-0 lead for a spin with the football to open the third quarter.
Well, and you think about this, Madison, this will be their 33rd play. North Buncombe run 12. That's it. They've had the ball 3 times.
Well, when you can go 98 on one of those plays, that'll skew the stat sheet a little.
So, I mean, it's a gut check for Madison because they've done some good things here in the first half. And just kind of a couple of really big plays have made the difference in this ball game so far.
We'll have the final 27 seconds of the first half when you return to Weaverville. Friday Night Rivals is brought to you in part by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Over $5 million of furniture in stock, ready to deliver to you. Visit their Arden and Waynesville showrooms or go to carolinafurnitureconcepts.com. 27 seconds remaining in the opening half of action. All the scoring belonging to the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. A 5-play, 61-yard drive capped by a 45-yard Burnett run. And if you weren't impressed with Hayden Burnett's 45-yard run, he had a 98-yarder on one play, 18 seconds just a few moments ago, which made it 13-0. That's where we sit. Madison facing a 4th down and going for it here, or at least up to the line, seeing if they can draw North Buncombe off at the 27-second mark. Actually going to snap the football, give this left side.
Man.
And that's a gutsy call that pays off.
Wow.
Move the chains for the Patriots, who, were they unable to convert, would have given the football over with 20 seconds or so, with which North Buncombe could have taken it for a spin in their own territory. You get the sense that was a confidence builder as much as anything else, Tom.
Going to go, hey, we didn't get it down under the goal line. Guys, let's see if we can, and good job of the guys up front.
Trying to break loose is Bartlett, and he will be out of bounds near the 40. Still 2 ticks remaining on the game clock as he's near another first down. Again, that may be one of those moments that it won't show up in the scoring, but you point back to in this football game and say there's where a great deal of confidence was built for a Patriots team that may take that confidence for a spin moving forward. But they kept the clock rolling, and it looked as if
he was out of bounds.
Bartlett was out of bounds easily. North Buncombe trying to sell it. They're headed for the locker room. The Patriots say not so fast, as will our referee, Bruce Stevenson, who said, get back here. There will be a couple of seconds remaining in the half.
New meaning to the term get back, coach.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's Mr. Stevenson on your screen.
Chance to visit with them for the game. Nice group of guys.
Yep. Bruce Stevenson, Mike Smathers, John Favoli, Josh Allison, Tim Lewis, Mark DeLisandro.
In some
Those
places
handling the responsibilities for you tonight.
The country, they have difficulty finding good officials or officials in general.
Saw the beautiful sunset here in Western North Carolina as they toss this out. Final seconds off of that first half game clock as Levi Shelton works his way toward midfield. Now they can head to the locker room, and the Blackhawks will do so with a 13-0 advantage. Impressive first half offensively and defensively for the home team, Tom.
Well, North Buncombe with big plays. That's all they needed. They only ran 12 plays. 145-yard run by Burnett, 198-yard run. Defense rose to the occasion, as cliche goes, on 2 occasions to keep Madison out. Madison did some good things in the first half. And then that call a minute ago, I think that's a statement one for Madison. We didn't get it down there, guys. We're going to go for it, picked it up. So I think it'll be an entertaining second half. Head man of the Blackhawks standing by with Nelson. Here is the Blackhawks head coach.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, I got to tell you, that was a phenomenal first half. The run game is very solid right now. It's very productive, too. The momentum is clearly on your side right now. How you feeling, Coach?
Well, we feel good right now, but we know that they're not done, and we can't be done either. We cannot be satisfied with where we are. We're excited to have 13, but we've got to fix some things and get a little better at what we're doing. I'm happy with our run game right now, and we got to continue to push.
So what's going to be the message to the boys in the locker room for the second half, Coach?
Finish.
All right. Good luck in the second half, Coach. Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
He'll be given the chance to start on the journey toward the finish, as his team will have the football first in the third quarter when we come back. The Asheville Chevy Show is between here and there. It will start on the other side of the break beneath this beautiful sun-filled sky as it sets over the Asheville area. Here's one more glance at some of the highlight moments from this first half provided by Hayden Burnett. The 98-yarder putting the exclamation point on a 13-0 lead for the North Buncombe Black Hawks.
Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us is the proud sponsor from the aforementioned Asheville Chevrolet. Y'all know him pretty well at this point, Mr. Bobby Roussel. Bobby, how you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing great.
All right.
We're really enjoying the Friday night lights and the football game, and we really got a good game going.
We do. What are your thoughts on the game so far, especially when it comes to that run game?
Look like North Buncombe really is lighting it up, and their defense is doing well.
Indeed.
But Madison is still running the ball, too.
Of course. Now, of course, you guys are from the Asheville Chevrolet. it does kind of make me wonder, how's business looking these days, especially since we're going into September and the fall months now?
Well, August was a good month, and September looks like it's going to shape up to be a real good month. We're starting to get some inventory in. We got some trucks on the lot.
All right.
We got rebates out there, so come see us.
Business is good. I like
Yeah.
it. Now, of course, Stan usually has on the pink shirt, but tonight you have got on the pink shirt. It kind of makes me wonder, what's the pink shirt for, Bobby?
It's for our big breast cancer event that we have at the dealership on October 5th.
Okay.
Where there's going to be food, family fun for everyone. We're going to have some singing, something for everybody to do, some good jambalaya from South Louisiana that I'll be cooking. And it's to sponsor Hope Chest for Women to help people that need help.
That sounds outstanding and very noble indeed. Now, just to be clear, this is open for everybody. The invitation is out for the entire community. Am I correct to assume that?
Yes, it's open to the public. Everybody's welcome. It doesn't cost you anything. Come enjoy some food, family, and fun, and bring your kids, bring whatever. Starts at 5:30 on October 5th.
October the 5th. We'll see you there. We'll see y'all there as well. Bobby, once again, on behalf of Friday Night Rivals, thank you and Stan Andrews so much for y'all's proud sponsorship of the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show. We truly could not do it without you guys.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Great.
Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us is the proud RB Scarlet athlete winner from Madison High School. Y'all know her pretty well, Miss Anna Capps. Anna, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Of course, and congratulations on the win as well.
Thank you.
Now, Anna, from what I understand, you are a rock star in the classroom. You're somebody who sits on a 4.5 GPA. You've been in the top 10% of your class in the freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and yes, right now, senior year. And you're also a junior marshal as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, how do you do it? What is the secret to academic success?
I normally just try to stay on top of my work and get ahead if I can.
Right?
Yeah.
What else can you tell us? Yeah.
Honestly, for me, having a pretty busy schedule, it works best for me just because I'm used to. I've always been a pretty busy kid, around school. So not having any sports would probably be harder for me to keep up with my work than having sports.
I see. And speaking of the schedule, let's talk about the agenda and the future in this case. What does the future plans look like for Anna Capps? What can we expect from you next year?
Hopefully my top score right now is Chapel Hill. I got the Moorhead nomination, so I'm working on that application right now, but hopefully I'll be there next year.
All righty. And speaking of, in this case, your high school athletics, let's talk about that because you are a superstar in that regard as well. You played basketball, you played softball, you played volleyball, and you even ran track during your freshman year. Is all that correct?
Yes, sir.
Share with us some additional insight into your your athletic accomplishments.
I ran track freshman year. It was right after COVID, and my sister did track, so I did that as a fun activity. I did basketball freshman and junior year. I'm not doing it this year. I just want a little break between volleyball and softball.
Right.
But I'm the co-captain of the volleyball team right now. The other captain is Addie, and really just the coach, Maddie Trilling. She's been an amazing coach to me. She's made me love the sport. And softball, I've done that since age 6, so it's been like my top sport. But volleyball is probably my top sport right now.
It's all terrific work indeed. Well, once again, Anna, you are our Arby Scholar Athlete winner for the week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck at all your future endeavors as well.
Thank you.
All right. Arby's, we have the meats. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey everybody, I'm Nelson Weston. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Friday Night Rivals. Joining us today is our long-standing good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Leva. Good to see you, my friend.
Your football friend.
It's football friend indeed. Now, Melissa, speaking of football, I want to transition from football to the classroom because you and I both know y'all have a famous program called Tools for Schools. And for those who are unfamiliar, how exactly does it operate on one hand, but on the other hand, more importantly, how do the good folks at home go about supporting it and getting involved today?
Oh, Nelson, it's really a wonderful program because it's geared toward the school and the needs that they have that sometimes, lots of times, teachers will actually end up buying out of their own pocket.
Indeed.
You have an Ingalls Advantage card and a list of schools who participate in the Ingalls Tools for School program. Link your card to one of those schools, and every time you shop, you're earning dollars. At the end of the year, the school can go and purchase what items they need.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing and well-rounded program.
Right.
Now, Ingalls, y'all have provided robust support to the community for so many years now. We're talking high school athletics, college athletics, and everything in between. It does beg the fundamental question, why? Why is it so critical for y'all?
Well, it's not just sports, but it's also educational programs. But we're the home team. Ingalls is your hometown grocery market. So you are also supporting our home teams.
Of course.
It's really important for us to be a part of that community. We love being part of that, and we're blessed to be able to do that. Lots of those students work at our stores or graduated from those schools. We see these people in church. We see these people at work. This is a really big deal for us. Might be a big company to look at us from the outside in, but we like being beacons in our own communities.
Y'all are beacons indeed. All outstanding work. Now, Melissa, very quickly, you and I both know no great game is complete without delicious, mouthwatering good food. What are some of the most popular items on y'all's menu?
Oh my goodness, you have to start off with a wonderful boar's head sub, just absolutely good with all the trimmings, great fried chicken, all the sides you could possibly want, a wonderful salad bar, a wing bar, olive bar. I mean, I don't know if I could decide. I just have to go get a big old wheelbarrow and take it all there, plus all the things you need like chips and drinks and paper plates. One-stop shopping place for all your tailgating.
All fantastic work indeed. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
trending toward a change of hands in possession of the jug, as it is 13-0 North Buncombe at the break, but a lot of football left in this one. Before we get to the next run of activity between these two rivals, time to take a look back at what we saw in this first half. One thing you know, and when the highlight package is rolled here, you're going to see a lot of Hayden Burnett along the way.
Yeah, early on, this is the first series that they had the football, 5 plays, 45 yards. He takes to the distance, an early 7-0 lead.
Well, this was the miscue that opened the door for a Madison squad that twice knocked on the door deep in North Buncombe territory, but both times they were turned aside by that stingy front line. And then here is nearly the distance of the field, the run, the latest of the touchdown runs by Hayden Burnett. He goes 98.
Yeah,
the rest is history as he puts them up 13-0.
Amazing turn of emotion and momentum right there. Look like you're going to score, maybe get it tied. Good defensive stand, and then get into the secondary, take a 98-yard for the touchdown. And all of a sudden, you find yourself down 13-0 at half, and North Buncombe's going to have a football to begin with.
I was going to say that. The home team loves the fact that they also get to try to build on that when you return to Weaverville on the other side of the break. We will have the second half coming up and the battle for possession of the jug right after this break. $13-0 our score as we wrap up the Asheville Chevy Show at the half. 13-0 on the strength of the images you saw just a moment ago from Hayden Burnett. You know, we're going to visit momentarily on the Carolina Furniture Concepts Coach's Corner with Coach X, Tom. And you know he's got to think about the chances his team has had, and they built more confidence toward the end of the half. It'll be interesting to get his thoughts as he stands by with Nelson.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, we got us a ball game here. You know, what were your thoughts on the first half? And furthermore, what was the message to the boys in the locker room?
Just finish the drives. We got to finish what we've started. Made a couple mistakes on defense, give them 2 quick scores. So we just got to finish our drives.
All right. Well, good luck to you boys in the second half, Coach. Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
That simple, and I go back to that moment, Tom, on the 4th down from inside his own territory with 20 seconds or so remaining in the half. Sent a message to his team that he expects that type of toughness in the second half of action. They'll need a defensive stand to begin things. Let's revisit your Spartanburg Dodge Jeep Ram keys to the game. Walk us through what you see these teams needing to adjust based upon that.
Well, we talked about to keep touching. I think Madison did. In fact, they had opportunity to make it even closer than it was. And we talked about this as a North Buncombe team that's going to run the football. And other than those two, you can't take them back. 45 and 98 for touchdowns. They've done a pretty good job in that regard. And then we talked about the culture at North Buncombe, and they preach toughness, and they got 2 really good stands defensively on 4th down, and they won their first 2 games this year after the 18-game losing streak, and they'd like to keep that momentum going here and win number 3. So they did some good things in the first half, only had the football 3 times, and unofficially 12 plays in the first half, whereas Madison they only had it 4 times, but they ran 35 plays in the first half. So they had those opportunities. We'll see if that, maybe from a physical standpoint with the number of players that are going both ways, we may see if that turns out to be a factor in the second half.
But when you get 143 yards on just 2 carries,
that'll play.
From
that'll play.
Young Mr. Burnett, that certainly helps, and his total's rising even higher. That's just the 2 impact carries that he had. Well, before we kick off the second half, let's go down field side once more and check in with Nelson.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. Well, there are an array of fantastic teachers here at North Buncombe High School, but the one that we are privileged to speak with here tonight is none other than a former Teacher of the Year, Mr. Benjamin Graham. Mr. Graham, it's good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Since we are here, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on the first half of the game, especially seeing as how your team is in the lead right now?
Yeah, I'm very proud of the Black Hawks, proud of North Buncombe. Looks like the defense has really made some great stands in the red zone. And our boys look great. Love to see you break a 99 run.
Indeed.
It's good stuff. Proud to be a Black Hawk.
That was a spectacular run indeed. Now, I'm curious to know, Mr. Graham, what exactly do you teach here at North Buncombe?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I teach history. I teach AP World History, American History, and World History.
All right.
Absolutely.
Now, how long have you been a teacher? Can you share with us some insight into what brought you here to North Buncombe?
Yeah, absolutely. I got hired here at North Buncombe right out of college, and that was 23 years ago.
All
And
right.
I've been here ever since, and it's been the most wonderful fit for me. My wife works here as well as a counselor. And
Okay.
I just love the school, and I just never left. It was great.
So not only do you and the wife have longevity here, y'all truly do embody pride here as well. In this case, not Black Panther pride, but Black Hawk pride, excuse me. Yeah.
Every day, all day. We absolutely embody Black Hawk pride. We love this community. We love the people here, and we love the school.
That is excellent. And speaking of the school, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. As a 23-year-long teacher, it kind of makes me wonder, what is the lifelong lesson that you instill in each and every one of your students, and why?
The best thing I want my students to learn is that we have to be curious about each other and seek first to understand one another before we make judgment. And so be curious, be enthusiastic, try to understand each other as human beings. And I hope when I teach history that those are the lessons that we learn from it.
That's magnificent. Now, we talked about the first half of the game. What are your expectations for the second half of the game? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, Black Hawk Stampede.
Oh, man.
Let's go, Hawks. We're going to get it done.
All right. You heard it here first. So, Mr. Graham, thank you for taking the time to speak with us here today. Congratulations on being Teacher of the Year. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Great deal of spirit surrounding this program. We were talking to some of the folks here in the press box during halftime. Storied PA guy. He said, I'm running out of vocal cords. He said, hadn't had one of those kind of wins like we had a couple of weeks ago to start the season in a long, long time. So you can tell in just in walking around this facility, Tom, the energy that exists surrounding this program because of the way they've entered 2023.
And you see all the T-shirts when we came in. We are North Buncombe, and a lot of folks from Madison have made the 20-minute journey to come this way as well to support their team. And it really is another one of the Friday night rivals.
Yeah, well, when there's any kind of trophy on the line, we talked about the jug a lot tonight, going back and forth between these two schools, and obviously right now resting with Madison after the 14-0 shutout a year ago. Well, shoes on the other foot this time as we're set to start the third quarter. North Buncombe leading at 13-0 on the strength of the two Hayden Burnett runs. The senior running back, defensive back, having himself a night already. Up over 150 yards total, and 143 of it on those two carries we've shown you several times. He and his crew going to get to go right back at it here, and they'll do so from great field position again. How about this return all the way up near midfield before finally being brought down is the return man, Xavier Banks-Tennant, another of the seniors on the return.
Took that up inside and able to get a great opportunity there. I fumbled the ball and mishandled to begin things. And, sometimes that can break the timing down and then able to get it to the outside. And he knows what he needs to do. And he had a really good run on the return and outstanding field position. Just the fourth possession the entire game as we start the second half.
Well, think about this. Colby, they scored on two of those. And, again, the possession time somewhat skewed by the two quick scores they put together. But also on that last play, give Colby Atkins credit. Had a chance to do something there that would have been detrimental to that run, and he was able to stay off of the potential tacklers. In doing so, made the return stick, and white jerseys swarm. Well, pretty clear what the challenge was in the locker room when you heard from Coach X on that Patriots sideline to begin the half, and his team responds on the first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, they did there, and you get in your screen there, you see Eli Tigg. He was a young man that turned that play back inside, and that allowed the backside help to come up for a short gain and a loss of one on first down.
Caleb DeBrule, among others, there on your screen. Drake Marshall, whose name we've called right on the very left portion of your screen, wearing number 15, whose name we've called as a wide receiver, as well as now on the defensive side. Second down from behind the sticks in search of what would be our initial Mills River Family Dental first down of the night. And to get there, the 42-yard line would be needed for North Buncombe. Initial possession of the third quarter. Second play from scrimmage, different story on the second play than the first, but a similar story to what they did on the ground in the first half. Even if the ball carrier this go round is going to be Jackson Eubanks. Here's another of the seniors carrying the football effectively.
Yeah, you slam that ball up inside, and big guy takes it to the outside and gets up in there, but not after a big gain.
That is a Mills River Family Dental first down for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. Boy, what a situation it would create and difficulty it would provide the Patriots should North Buncombe march down on this opening possession of the third quarter and make this a 3-score game. Again, a give to Eubanks, and he's eventually driven out inside the 30. You know, Tom, obviously when you score quickly on a big play, as we prefaced it by saying, it skews the sense of control of the football game because you don't need to have possession for an extended period of time. But you look at possession, you look at opportunities, really seemed as if in that first half, it was this Madison team that was on the verge. Instead, you look up there at a 2-score deficit and in danger of going down 3 here as North Buncombe continues to methodically command this game.
And you're talking about some youngsters, teenagers that are trying to handle that situation emotionally, didn't get a certain success, and then the other team turns around and bang, there you go, and gets the touchdown. So to be able to handle that emotionally, I think, is as important as anything.
They forced the turnover. They had the end goal situations in that first half, but as yet, scoreless. And right now, trying to turn aside the latest of the Blackhawks drives. Third down and about 5. They're going to call it a long 5. As the 19-yard line is going to be needed here.
And if you're North Buncombe, you're a power-running football team, and you just need 5 yards, and you get 2 downs to get it.
Not only that, but the ability they have, too. As you said, power run the football. Want to shorten this game as needed. Burnett gathered up. They were keying on him. Flags come in as he is spun around by Grayson Denton. Mostyn, and the penalty going to be against the Blackhawks, so this will back North Buncombe up a bit.
Well, that was a really good defensive play, too, there, because we talked about the power run game, and that's what they want to do. And they're going to come right at you. And a great job, as you mentioned, by Grayson Denton Mostyn to make a play there. But there was a penalty mark on the play. It'll back them up 5 more yards.
Teams meeting Mars Hill a season ago. That one going the way of the Patriots. This one trending the way of the Blackhawks. And North Buncombe on third down. Plenty of room to sneak on down the sideline and inside the 10-yard line for Colby Akins. As the senior group has certainly led this team tonight. Take another look at Colby Akins' reception.
Yeah, you don't throw it much, talking about North Buncombe, but nice block out on the edge, didn't hold, and able to bring it up the sideline. And, you know, it's effective. Just flip it out on the edge. You're not having to develop pass patterns, pass protection, so to speak. Just flip it out there and see if you can get it done. You got it blocked effectively on the edge, and all of a sudden you're now knocking on the door.
First bank red zone chance for North Buncombe, something they had not needed, scoring on those runs from distance to this point. Speaking of those, here's Burnett, but he is upended behind the line of scrimmage. By the way, all of our red zone opportunities tonight, those for Madison earlier, these for North Buncombe in the third quarter, whatever follows this, brought to you by First Bank. 21 locations across Western North Carolina and the Upstate, 16 of them in Western North Carolina alone to serve you. That is First Bank, the sponsors of our red zone on Friday Night Rivals.
Good penetration. Max Shelton did a nice job there to slow down the run game momentarily here.
Second down. And, of course, goal to go from just inside the 10. Moves to the fullback Eubanks, and he's inside the 5. How about that? Just kind of carried part of the pile with him. And Eubanks has it 3rd and goal from just outside the 4.
Man, and you know what? And if he gets a head of steam, he's 6'2", 230, and a different makeup than Hayden Burnett at 5'7", 165 at a senior, but he gets going at 230, tough to bring down.
Field General Alex Rash works his way back out there. Take command of this offense one more time at inside the 4-yard line. Boy, these defenses, both of them tightening up with their backs against the goal line, and that holds true. A swarm of white jerseys. Patriots able to gather up Burnett, will not allow him into the end zone this time around, and it's going to be 4th and goal.
I'll tell you what, Eli Tigg, watch number 10 come up, force it back inside, and then here come the rest of them to make that play. So how about this Madison defense? They have really risen to the occasion here against a power-running football team that has had great success, but on a couple of occasions here have done a really good job to force a 4th down situation.
He wasn't alone. That front line of defense saw Mason Clubb, number 77, lead this group to the charge as well. One of those seniors, he's still up along that line as he puts his hand down on the 9-yard line. A field goal try as they try to push a 26-yarder through, and the Blackhawks will on a night when everything is trending the North Buncombe direction. Ryan Moffitt and company with 3 more to post on the board. It is 16-0 home squad. Don't let game night dinner get you stressed. Stop by Ingles for great choices from the Ingles Deli. Rotisserie chicken, fresh made salads, a delicious hot bar, and sub bar. It's dinner and a snap, then off to the game. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. Well, working our way forward in this 3rd period of action. And quite a perch from which to look down upon the battle for possession of the jug, and the first possession of the second half effective for North Buncombe. Tom, they tacked 3 more on with the 26-yard field goal from Moffitt.
Yeah, 7 plays. It took 4:49 off the clock. A couple pretty good defensive plays, though, by Madison, and to a certain extent, you had to hold them to a field goal. It's somewhat of a win, although if you're North Buncombe, you can take 3 points and add on right now. You got to make 2 touchdowns and a couple 2-point conversions at that point. But I thought Madison did a pretty good job just to keep them out of the end zone. And on a pair of plays, loss on rushing yardage, but Moffitt able to kick it through there, and it's a 16-0 ball game.
I like your thought process. Still a 2-possession game if you use the extent of the opportunities in front of you with the touchdown and the 2-point conversions both times around. You just wonder how many chances there will be as quickly as the game between these two rivals can pass you by because of the effectiveness of the ground game on both sides. Needing a good return and getting one. In fact, getting more than just a good return. 122 breaks loose earlier, another breaking loose now. Levi Shelton, the distance. And just like that, the Patriots are on the board.
Boy, a game of big plays and emotion. Just got that field goal to go up 16-0. And you're thinking about, well, how many opportunities are you going to have in the second half? It's not really a big play offense. Well, here's a big play, and he is able to take it up inside. And a lot of that was done on his own. He got a couple of really good blocks, and then he shows his acceleration and takes it down the sideline the distance for the touchdown.
A special teams response from the senior back Levi Shelton, who puts the Patriots of Madison on the board. And they've doubled up already the third quarter scoring for North Buncombe with his kickoff return. The question is, will the extra point be true, and can they work this to 9? Will they line up, as you talked about, Tom, knowing that scoring opportunities may be few and far between, try to go ahead and cut the lead in half with a 2-point conversion? That'd be what you would think, and it appears as if the offensive unit will stay out there. Here is Dallas Bartlett and company trying to cut the lead in half after the return of the kick. Bartlett looking for a seam. Initially didn't find one. His second effort gets him closer to the goal line, but he's going to be stopped just shy of the conversion. So it'll sit at a 10-point game at 16-6 with 6:47 to play. How about a United touchdown for the Patriots of Madison? It comes on a special teams moment from who else but Levi Shelton.
Welcome back to Friday Night Rivals. Well, folks, I'm standing here on the sidelines with some of the beautiful cheerleaders from North Buncombe High School. Ladies, on behalf of Friday Night Rivals, thank y'all so much for allowing us to be here tonight. We proudly present y'all a check for $500. Tom, Jason, back to you guys.
A 73-yard kick return that sees hope born in the hearts and minds of a Madison team looking to repeat the feat of a victory in this rivalry game a year ago. But now on the board, Tom,
Yes.
able to break through. I'm going to point back to that moment of confidence at the end of the first half in which they rolled the dice on the fourth down. That was built upon by holding North Buncombe to a field goal on the opening drive of the third quarter, and now at least winning the quarter right now. Madison is set to kick it away. So this is a team, if nothing else, that has served notice that they are not going to go quietly into the night.
No, they aren't. And, boy, a game of tremendous emotion. And I thought, too, just like you, Jason, that, okay, North Buncombe got 3 points but didn't get the touchdown. And then all it took was that kickoff return to get them right into the ball game, because you wonder, is this a team that can really, a quick strike team that can score that quickly? So that was absolutely huge. Now, good job on the 2-point try to keep him out, and it's still a 10-point game right now at 6:42.
I got to ask you, do you want a goal scenario in this game? You want a goal-to-go scenario in this game? Doesn't work out very well for you.
Yes.
You know, you want to score from distance in this game.
That's right, yeah.
You've got the 45-yard run. You've got the nearly 100-yard run, the 98-yarder, and then now you've got the 73-yard kick return. So getting close to the goal line, red zone opportunities, not what they're cracked up to be in this contest. And you tip your cap to both defenses.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, we talk, and it's, you know, it's a Madison team that has given up 44 points per game in the first 2, and a North Buncombe team that had given up a little bit as well. Now, they had scored themselves 39.5, but they'd given up 23. So I think both teams defensively have done a really good job here tonight. And we talked about how high-octane North Buncombe had been in their win over East Henderson with 47-32 against Olin. So big scheme of things, 2 big plays and a field goal, they got 16.
Here's a big play defensively once more as Eli Teague breaks through and is able to bring down the QB. Big time loss, and you can just sense the energy that exists for the Patriots now.
And here comes a big third down play. And, we talked about Teague here in the second half time and again. If he's not making the tackle, he's affected things to force some of the plays back inside or take it laterally as well.
The crew out of Western Highlands. 1A, 2A, Western Highlands 7. Looking sharp all of a sudden as they surge against the team out of the MAC that had appeared in control of this one. MAC 3A, 4A's Black Hawks of North Buncombe seemed in command until just a moment ago, and now retreating on this penalty, they will work from inside their own 30 at the 26.
Now you're talking about the change, a couple of years ago as far as conferences are concerned.
Yes.
And it's a Madison team in a 7-team conference. There are only 2 2A teams, and they're one of them along with Owen, I believe, and then the MAC conference. And Reynolds now has dropped down from 4A to 3A. That makes it a little more difficult for some of the teams in the area.
Well, this Blackhawks team out of the MAC, of course, still packed with 3A and 4A squads. It seemed to be theirs, this contest, through a half plus, but all of a sudden now facing 4th and a mile, and it looks as if not only Madison is poised to get the football back quickly, but they're going to, it would seem, get the football back in extremely good field position. One of the big reasons, the work that Eli Teague has done, as you see him on the heart of your screen. Something to cheer about for those clad in the red, white, and blue on the far side. I'm going to allow this to be kicked away, and that pops off of the return man, still scrambling to try to gather it up. The ball is loose, and it will, no official indication yet. Boy, this would prove costly from a momentum standpoint if Madison did not get back on the football, and it seems as if somehow they did. Wow. Catch your breath on the far side, Patriots fans.
You never know how that oblong ball is going to bounce.
And Woody had it pop right off of there.
And the scramble is on, and you never know what goes on at the bottom of the pile. And to see maybe who got on it. You try to catch it off that shoulder pad, and look out. Collisions all over the place. Was it Woody that got back on it?
He was scrambling there initially. Cade Woody, Levi Shelton, 2 of the players we talked about that factored heavily in last year's contest in this rivalry matchup. They've done so again. Speaking of Shelton, back to him after he had the kick return. But this time around, the Blackhawks were waiting as he is brought to a quick halt. We'll call his name again, Jacob Nix.
Yeah, he's having an outstanding night and just shed the block there, coming up his linebacker spot, and made a fine one-on-one open field tackle.
You're going to have a big night. Do it in front of the WLOS Friday Night Rivals audience in the rivalry game, and certainly the case for Jacob Nix. Has him behind the sticks, second down and forever. The 49-yard line will need to be crossed over in North Buncombe territory for the Patriots to move the chains, and now able to gather up by the shoestrings the ball carrier and bring him down. Dane Houston, the junior, in there to turn it aside.
I'll tell you what, all of a sudden they dialed it up on defense after having pumped for the first time, and Houston able to make a nice play.
Look at that hang with him tackle, Tom. He got the right shoe.
Hang on.
And wouldn't let go. Fish were biting, hook, line, and sinker, and he was going nowhere thanks to Dane Houston. Here's third, and they're going to call it 27. And caught up near what was the original line of scrimmage at the 40 as they toss this to Chance Pimlett.
But you know, Jason, that's all right if you're North Buncombe. Just keep it in front of. Don't want to let him catch him, but you've got it covered that way, and you make a tackle, obviously, far shy.
Yeah, only about half of it back. Now, with 20 seconds left in the quarter, Patriots went for it deeper than this in their own territory. But this time around, set to kick it away with so much on the line in what is a 10-point ball game now, and a 4th down and 11 in front of them. Return man standing at his own 27 for the Blackhawks. And this one is muffed. But no white jerseys in the vicinity in time to prevent Colby Akins from corralling it before it's too late. Well, things getting a little wild in the third period between these two. But catch your breath. We'll be back, and it'll be Blackhawks football after the break. Asheville Smiles, Cosmetic and Family Dentistry Smile Cam. And yes, after a brief moment of, wait a minute, they can smile. Both those punts eventually secured by the return teams, and it will be North Buncombe's football. They're smiling here on the home side because they're up by 10, but plenty to smile about for the Patriots fans as well, Tom, as we continue with the Asheville Smiles, Cosmetic and Family Dentistry Smile Cam, and that's because they are right back in this thing thanks to a strong third quarter.
Well, yeah, and as you mentioned, Jason did her first with a moment of panic for both teams there. But how about this? After we saw the first half where Madison ran 35 plays, North Buncombe 12, but 2 of those were big touchdowns, 45 and 98-yard runs. We've had back-to-back 3-and-outs. Punting is not extinct.
It happens. These defenses snatching headlines away from time to time. We'll see which one stands tall as we work the final 145 of the third quarter, and a flag comes out before play resumes. Yeah, it's a great point, Tom. It is not extinct. What a great way to put it. Another flag here. Those aren't extinct either.
Well, you know, if you're Madison, you did what you needed to do. You got 3 and out, and you had pretty good field position at the 39-yard line, but then it was North Buncombe's turn defensively, and the first 2 plays by Nixon Houston got him into a really 3rd down and long, and then they did a really good job defensively to kind of get everything in front of you and force the punt there.
Well, inside a minute 45 to go in the third. And this goes right to the left hash. And a big pile stacking things up there as the defense was ready and waiting. And once more, to your point a moment ago, behind the sticks as defense reigns here in this third quarter. I guess you have to say defense and special teams reigns in this third quarter. You got a field goal for North Buncombe. You had a kickoff return for touchdown for Madison. So all the scoring in the third period, special team scoring thus far.
And if you're Madison and you could get a stop and get a score, all of a sudden the pressure is all over North Buncombe here at home, and we're getting close to the fourth quarter of play. That'd be a good one.
It would take away the sting of that failed 2-point conversion that came up just shy inside the 1-yard line, because with ample time remaining, you'd be within striking distance. Inside the final minute of the third quarter, with possession of the jug up for grabs here in Weaverville between the Patriots and the Black Hawks. Third down, and this is going to be a 16-yard need with 16 points on the board for North Buncombe.
And both teams that don't throw the ball down the field much.
Now, when you can rush it to the extent and
Yes.
degree that we've seen them do it tonight, you don't have to. This one did the skies, though, and a wide open receiver, and it is just out of the reach of the outstretched arms of Ryan Moffitt. He had the field goal earlier for North Buncombe that extended the lead, and he really had something else in this third period, but it just landed out of his reach.
And forced another punting situation. Teague coming backside to apply some pressure there, but boy, what a tremendous effort. Running stride for side with Galt there, and it just went through his hands. And
well, you talk about the rushing attack Alex Rash leads, but I have to be impressed with the near on target delivery of that last toss. Now, we had a flag at the end of that, and it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Yeah.
And this is going to play in here, Tom, because you're going to back North Buncombe up a little further. And it means not only is Madison going to have the football to begin the fourth quarter, one would assume, unless we have another big special teams play on this snap, but they will have it, it looks like, in very good field position.
yeah, and if you're Madison and put a little pressure on the punter, but you make sure that you don't rough and you give the ball back, and you make sure you field it cleanly if you can with two back this time.
Two back in there on the North Buncombe side of that home logo, and flying in there to dive on top of the football is Levi Shelton. And as it has on each of these special teams plays in this quarter, it works out. And with 5.5 to play in the third, Madison set up nicely, down 10 with the football in their opponent's territory.
Haven't had many opportunities here in the third quarter of play. That 73-yard kickoff return turned out to be one of the keys in this quarter of play. And now you've got tremendous field position, and you got yourself right back into the ball game.
Yep, received their first points at the 6:47 mark of this third quarter on that 73-yard kickoff return. And any further points will occur in the fourth quarter. Well, I say that. We get a flag as the clock stops with 0.1 left on the third quarter game clock for more extracurricular activity, as the energy and the intensity of this rivalry contest bubbles over once more, and it's going to be costly for Madison, it would seem. And so just when they work their way into North Buncombe territory with a good defensive stand, aided by a penalty the other direction, they're going to be backed up to the 48-yard line after an untimely miscue. So there is a tenth of a tick left on the third quarter game clock. With one final play not needed in this third quarter. So they do put things in action, and we head to the fourth. It'll be Madison with the football in North Buncombe territory, but trailing it by 10.
Hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza, fried bologna sandwiches, snacks, drinks. We got a long weekend ahead of us. Stock up, take them home with you, have some food for the house.
Welcome back to Friday Night Rivals. Well, folks, I'm standing here on the sidelines with the proud superintendent of Madison County Schools, Dr. Will Hoffman. Dr. Hoffman, good to have you here tonight, sir.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Of course. Now, what are your thoughts on the game so far?
Well, it's tight. I hope we can get some scores. We've been able to push the ball tonight, but we haven't been able to get it over the goal line. I hope they can get into the fourth quarter and put some points on the board and get this thing a little closer.
Sounds ambitious. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I see the Madison logo on your shirt right
Yes.
there. I'm curious to know, y'all have a big infrastructure project going on right over at Madison High School. Is that right?
We do. We've been very fortunate to have good partners within the county. Marshall University has really helped us.
Right.
We've used their stadium and their fields, but we're getting really close to having that completed. And when we're done, we'll have a new track, a new grandstand, a refurbished press box, and the whole area will be brand new, so we'll be ready to go.
That sounds wonderful.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, I understand this is a big rivalry game, of course, but let's talk about community because you guys really are a tight-knit community. What can you tell us about that very briefly?
So, we are tight-knit. You can see the rivalry here, great fan base, but there's a lot of positivity here. Kids are acting well. They're out here supporting their teams, and we support each other a lot across the districts. Good friends with Rob Jackson, standing over here, the superintendent. Mr. Yantz is great friends with our principals in Madison County, Ms. Caldwell, Mr. Huskins, and there's just a lot of collaboration there, so we appreciate that.
One big happy family indeed.
That's
well,
it. Yeah.
Mr. Superintendent, thank you for your time here tonight.
Hey,
we do
thank you
appreciate
very
you,
much.
sir.
Thank
Good
you
luck
very
to your
much.
team as well.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Actually continuing now, the fourth quarter underway as Madison is on the march. You heard the superintendent say it, Tom. They have been able to drive the football tonight. That has not been a problem. They need the drive of the night right now to put tremendous pressure on North Buncombe because you just don't know with the way these two teams play how many times you're going to touch the football in the fourth.
And to throw the football to begin successfully, I think, is important as well.
Needed it. 3rd and 11 is what it creates. Rolling this side is Bartlett. He'll throw it again, and that is almost reeled in by Gavin Galt, who with a defender hanging on to him, nearly reeled that in one-handed.
Dane Houston was right there as well. Galt last week, or you should say earlier this year, he was able to capture one for 66 yards at a touchdown at the end of the game. Hayesville, in fact, and he caught one prior to that and broken up by Houston up the sideline.
So a 4th down 11 for a Madison team scoring its only touchdown on a special teams play at the 6:47 mark of the 3rd quarter, a 73-yard return for Levi Shelton. Needing a 4th down conversion here to tighten the score a little further. It's over the middle and nearly picked off. It is incomplete. Probably better for North Buncombe from a field position standpoint that it was not caught in the secondary. They'll get it at the line of scrimmage all the way up at the 40.
Well, you always want to intercept it, man.
Would have been nice in the stat sheet, right?
Yes, and then, I'm going to take it 85 yards for a score, but good job by Aiken back there as well. And, he'll go back and back this one up a time or two tomorrow and take a look at that one. But
Obi Aikens had it there for the taking. Aikens has done some stellar work tonight, both sides of the football, but didn't quite reel in that interception. Does make it a little easier to swallow, however, when your team takes over on downs, and that's the case for a Blackhawks squad still leading by 10.
And you go back to that big penalty, Jason, that really set them back.
Yep. Inside of Blackhawks territory, and after a penalty had given them really good field position of the personal foul variety, you get an unsportsmanlike penalty that snuffs that drive out. So you take that penalty, you take the near scoring drive after the turnover that followed the prior goal line stand when they worked inside the red zone. The Patriots have had a few opportunities like that tonight.
They really have, and despite the inability to convert on a couple of occasions, they find themselves down by just 10, and the penetration that time. Max Shelton did another job. Good job defensively.
It's a familiar face in stripes, right?
There we
Played
go.
for our broadcast
He
partner,
played for
Kenny Ford.
There's another.
His playing career. You got to love the guys that
Yes.
stay connected to the game and give back to the game from an officiating standpoint after so much of their life and their youth given to the gridiron on Friday nights, just like this. We'll break away with just under 11 minutes remaining. The separation 10 and the battle for possession of the jug. Friday Night Rivals is brought to you in part by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Over $5 million of furniture in stock, ready to deliver to you. Visit their Arden and Waynesville showrooms or go to CarolinaFurnitureConcepts.com. Well, the fourth quarter having arrived in Weaverville, and 16 points on the board. A field goal from Moffitt, the most recent and the only scoring in the second half for North Buncombe. It built upon what at the time was a 13-0 lead. Those two scores belonging to Burnett, 45-yard run, 98-yard run for the talented running back Hayden Burnett, the senior. And Tom, you thought at that time, if you were wearing the North Buncombe black T-shirts and uniforms and things were cruising toward victory, Madison having made it interesting with that special teams touchdown in the third, but it's North Buncombe taking back over now as they try to salt away a victory in much the same way that the Patriots were able to a season ago, and lands right on that logo is third down and 3 is coming.
I think it's Drake Marshall that's down.
Yeah, we got a player suddenly down here.
Make sure we get the number.
You haven't seen him just yet on your screen. He sits right at the top of the N in the North Buncombe logo, and there he is. As the training staff is out for Madison.
Well, it does beg the question of where is the judge?
Yeah, I asked you that in between the quarter break. I said, we're kind of spotting it here,
Got Brian Hall of 570 ESPN Nashville.
He was turning up some type of water device a moment ago. We wondered if perhaps he had stolen it away, but has been in the possession of the Madison Patriots for the last year. North Buncombe trying to change that across the next 10 minutes, 40 seconds. And the good news is up and off under his own power, Drake Marshall.
He's had a good night.
He really has, both sides of the football. And here's Alex Rash, who has also had a good night. One of the main reasons, the guy just off his left hip, right? Burnett right there with him. 1 quarter of action left. Both these teams run the football effectively. It will pass quickly. Knowing that, a big third down and able to swarm and gather up the aforementioned Burnett. 4th down and 1. Right on the heart of that North Buncombe logo. This is where you line up and in many ways take another major stride toward trying to win the football game if you're the Blackhawks, Tom.
Yeah, and you've got 10 minutes in rolling. You can keep the football. We've talked about the big plays, and they've been instrumental to success tonight, but they're also a team that can keep it on the ground and keep it away from you.
Here's the 4th down play. Boy, a must-have for the Patriots of Madison as they stack that box up. Rash up to the line and under center, tries to get enough of a push, and it appears as if the spot is going to give him a first down. So the latest of Mills River Family Dental first downs, Hendersonville Family Dental and Mills River Family Dental sponsoring our first downs throughout the night. Few bigger in the first down department than the one you just saw.
And Rash, we saw very first play of the game, quarterback sneak. We've seen that's the 3rd one we've seen tonight, and we're not, talking out of the goal line, things like that, but that right there, right behind Thomas Kirkpatrick, the center, 5'10", 250, a junior, and Kenyon Peak off that right side with Dupree, 260, 210, 250, Spelton, 240, and then Reinhardt at left tackle, 300. Big guys, tough guys up front.
Doing the good work on that home logo, and they'll stay right there for the first down play. You just wonder how much time that's going to cost the Patriots, and this will cost a little more, as that is another first down run. Move the chains one more time for Burnett, who is hung around the 200-yard mark tonight. About 150 of it on a couple of the key carries that resulted in touchdowns. He has been the workhorse for this Blackhawks squad tonight.
He has, and he was able to get to the outside and then had a good angle there to accelerate, running laterally there. Galt's in position, but if he doesn't make that tackle, he gets up the sideline and picks up about 7 more before he's knocked out of bounds there by Caleb DeBrule.
And the 22s, the premier performers in this 16-6 football game with that many points on the board, 22 of them. Thanks to the work of both Burnett, who does another Nice job on that last carry, opposite the work of Levi Shelton, who for a second straight year has factored in for the Patriots. But now it comes down to the ability of your field general to just control the football game, and Alex Rash is sent back out to that end. Boy, Tom, so much time continuing to tick off thanks to the 4th down conversion.
You got to get some stops, and that's good first down play. You get 5 yards. Good combination, Shelton and Eubanks behind Rash.
Well, and the result of this drive, very critical. A lot can happen in 8.5 minutes. A field goal keeps you 2 possessions. A touchdown, and the sledding becomes very difficult for Madison if North Buncombe can find the end zone one more time. 3rd down coming. And again, from here, the field goal we saw was a 26-yarder. From here, you're looking at one of great distance as they tend to the equipment of Burnett momentarily. Weighing all options on that far sideline for the Patriots of Madison. Into traffic up on that front line, and among those in there to make the stop was Max Shelton. Saw him both in the backfield and on that defensive unit tonight. Speaking of being on offense and on the defensive unit,
right back.
Look across there, and guess who's behind him? Levi Shelton as well.
Well, I tell you, when you look back at this, there's going to be some strong things for Madison defensively. I know the big plays and you talk about them, and it's the difference in the ball game. But that play right there, which sets up a big 4th down play here. There have been a number of plays for negative yardage that the Madison defense has been able to pull off here tonight.
4th down play. To the air, and another conversion. Quick turnaround on the reception as he'll hit Xavier Banks-Tennant. And a big-time Hendersonville family, Mills River family dental 1st down here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, nicely done. Just go out enough yard. Make sure you've got the yardage for the 1st down and a quick throw and not under any kind of duress there. So well designed and well executed as well on a 4th down play to keep the clock rolling as we dip under 7
2
minutes.
4th down conversions on this drive, 2 major strides towards salting away. Another win for North Buncombe that could be on the horizon as the Blackhawks have not only, you talk so much about monkey off the back and handling the scenario that you need, getting the streak to come to a halt. That's old news. Now they're stringing wins together, and Tom, find themselves on the verge of another, perhaps.
Yeah, and the momentum that they have is an experienced team. We talked about only 31 to 32, but 19 of them are seniors. And, when you're a senior in high school, you want that last year to be memorable.
Don't look now, though. They just crossed into the red zone. We'll see if this becomes the first red zone conversion of the night as we kind of have a little fun with that, in that so much of the scoring, all of the scoring, with the exception of the field goal, has come from outside the red zone in this contest for these two teams. Speaks to the big play capability for them both, and it speaks to the way the defenses have played inside the First Bank red zone tonight. And again, First Bank is a sponsor of all of our red zone opportunities, 21 locations across Western North Carolina and the Upstates, 16 of those right here in Western North Carolina, and 16 is the operative number on this night. It is a 16-6 lead for North Buncombe as we work inside 5.5 minutes to play in the rivalry matchup for possession of the jug.
You're getting a good look at Jackson Eubanks, who has played a lot here in the second half in the backfield. Mason Clubb had made that tackle. Charlie Greer, the one prior to that from Madison. They need one here on 3rd and 2.
Flag comes in as they fight for the marker on 3rd down and 3.
I don't know if that's a face mask, maybe.
Well, in the midst of the pile right at the 10-yard line. Going to be interesting as they sort this out. It was 3rd down. And around 3 needed, a long 2 they called it. And they will talk this thing over at the 4:54 mark. North Buncombe on the drive that would seem to be the drive to put the finishing touches on a rivalry game victory, but a decisive penalty. And there have been some of them tonight. A decisive penalty call coming up. It is going to be a face mask against the Patriots. And you can move the chains again. A 1st and goal coming up now for North Buncombe as they inch ever closer to the exclamation point score.
Yeah, it just kind of looked like the head got pulled around a little bit there, and now they're in great field position. Rash comes back on. So Byrnes there, who's into the ball game, played a little bit here in the second half.
Still at the helm of this offense, Alex Rash. Remember, he and his crew got down to the 5-yard line in the 3rd quarter a year ago, turned aside. And a goal line stand by the Patriots. Let's see if they can come up with the first of the red zone scores by an offensive unit in this edition of the rivalry game. Won't happen on this handoff, but another and goal chance coming on 2nd down.
Every down is 40 seconds or so.
You read my mind. Takes a little more time off that game clock. So it may benefit you to some degree, not getting in as quickly if you're North Buncombe.
Well, you talk about North Buncombe comes in at 2-0, and they picked up a 47-36 win over East Henderson, trailed 12-0, won 32-13 at Owen. They've got Madison here, and you know Madison got kind of blown out pretty good in the first 2 ball games at Polk and at Hayesville, and you know what? They've given North Buncombe everything they wanted here tonight.
Well, you certainly have it. Think about this. It's going to be a challenging MAC schedule for North Buncombe, no doubt about it. But, Tom, to be able to, in about 3 minutes, 50 seconds from now, say, let the word go forth, the Black Hawks are 3-0.
Yes.
Maybe not what many expected in Western North Carolina this year, but it speaks to the heart of these young men. It speaks to the experience level they bring to the table and the tenacity we've seen from them tonight. Going to make them a force to be reckoned with in so many, particularly of the non-conference matchups.
Well, I'll tell you, it is so difficult when you lose 18 consecutive to get the interest of young men in the school that even want to play football. And you can even backtrack with Madison. They won 3 last year, 4 the year before, but prior to that, they'd had 2 seasons that they didn't win any games at all. So they're trending up as well.
Well, fans have been entertained tonight, and we select our Western Carolina University fans of the game. Western Carolina reminding you a high-quality education has never been more affordable thanks to the NC Promise tuition plan. As a North Carolina resident, you'd pay just $500 in tuition per semester for a degree that would prepare you for a thriving future. That's Western Carolina University, proud sponsors of tonight's fans of the game. Fans certainly being entertained, those wearing those colors you just saw, the familiar black and white colors of the North Buncombe Black Hawks, with much to discuss when they leave here. And their team offensively trying to give them one more highlight moment. On 2nd down and goal from inside the 5, and a push toward the goal line, and there are the lifted arms of the men in stripes as it's an Alex Rash touchdown in behind that offensive line you documented earlier, and that may very well, at now somewhat fittingly, 22-6. May very well put the finishing touches on a rivalry win for the home team.
Yeah, nothing fancy. Big guys up front. Let Rash at 210 pound it in there. Goes off that left side and just enough room to sack it effort. Good penetration at the beginning of the play, but he was able to get across the double stripe for the touchdown.
Extra point would make it a 23-6 advantage as they trend toward these Blackhawks, a 3-0 start with number 3 at the helm here in 2023. It'll stay at 22-6, however. Said that's somewhat fitting with the way the 22s have performed tonight, and it is. That was our Prestige Subaru drive of the game, and part of the reason, Tom, for this North Buncombe squad, it was the only real sustained drive they needed in the game. 2 big-time runs of distance for Hayden Burnett, and then this drive that puts it on the cusp, this latest win for North Buncombe. That is our Prestige Subaru drive of the game.
And that started at the 11:45 mark, and so we can do the math here in the high school setting, can't we? Minus 3:46, a little over 8 minutes there. So well done, and a couple of conversions on 4th down, and that's what North Buncombe can do to you. And you get later into the season and later into the games, sometimes you'll wear the opposition down, and you're able to do that, and then hopefully able to widen it out at the end. And they've been able to make it a 16-point game now, 22-6 with 3:46 to go.
Well, we got to find your high school math teacher out in the Midwest. We got to find the right number. I know there would be plenty of pride there. I'm not going to throw any calculus at you. We'll keep it at simple addition and division at this point. But you're right, Tom. Just an impressive drive all the way around for North Buncombe. The Black Hawks doing exactly what they needed to on that possession to turn this into what looks like it's going to be a W tonight for the home team.
And you know what, G? We'd always talk about the big offensive line, and it has been good. We talked about Dupree and Peak and Kirkpatrick, Felton, and Reinhardt. I'm sure they've interspersed a couple of other young men in there as well. But also from a running back standpoint with Burnett and then Eubanks, we saw Byrnes a little bit there late. And they've also interspersed enough of the passing game. And Coach Hines telling us that that's one thing that they want to try to refine and maybe get a little bit more productivity out of that as the season goes on.
Well, this school founded in 1954 in the town of Weaverville. You know the value of this rural mountain community and what high school football means to it. Makes tonight, like tonight, very important. It's true all around the state. We will be headed across the state line to Greer, South Carolina, next Friday night. Byrnes, one of the perennial powers in Palmetto State football, against the Greer Jackets. Byrnes and Greer Rebels Jackets coming up at 7:30 next weekend.
And Byrnes got a big win over a team from North Carolina, and then Chapman beat him last week in a remarkable 17-14 game. And you and I have known Will Young at Greer, and it will be tough. Right in the shadow of the big water tower there in Greer.
Ball trickles away, but a kind bounce off the turf as it's back up into the grasp of Dallas Bartlett. As he's done several times tonight, makes something out of nothing as he crosses the 50. We'll see exactly where he stepped out with 3:25 left to play. Well, what a night here, Tom, and what a location this has been for us to set up shop for Friday night rivals. You know, district that includes one high school, one middle school, 3 elementary schools, 1 primary, 1 intermediate. And you look back to 1987 when on the former site of the Asheville-Weaverville Speedway.
Yes, right here.
This school was located. 900-plus students as we speak. And it is a night that in this location, they are ready to celebrate. And now it's just a matter really yardage and statistics. This penalty going to back Madison up just a little bit further as the Patriots will work from inside their own 24. But you talk about so much about the snapping the streak and what a great start this is. But this has been an effective location for athletes sports-wise, this North Buncombe program over the years. Think about state championships, women's track and field in 2012. We talked about the cheerleading program and in terms of Steve and the family connections here from our crew. Cheerleading titles in 08, 09, 14, 16. They were the runner-up in softball.
Man.
As recently as 22, won a women's basketball title in 96. Baseball in 75, cross country in 2000 and 2001. So a highly decorated athletic department, and now football all of a sudden trending toward a 3-0 start here in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very positive atmosphere, and it's amazing how success athletically can enhance the academic as well, and that you can have that kind of combination of athletic and academic success at the same time.
Second and long, and the pass incomplete. Now you think about Carlin Pickens, the SEC Freshman of the Year, now in his sophomore campaign at the University of Tennessee. SEC action and the first full weekend of the season coming up. Paul's got a big one tomorrow. Virginia Cavaliers traveling to Nashville.
You know a lot
and they're
going
to go head-to-head at, what is it, LP Field, Nissan Stadium?
Yep.
Changes by the moment, but
Yep.
the professional stadium in Nashville going to be the host site for that big collision. One of many big college football games across the course of the weekend that you can keep an eye on here on WLOS and beyond, as well as My 40. A lot of football for you everywhere. Still fighting, still digging for every inch of real estate. Here's Dallas Bartlett. Also should mention professional soccer player Nathan Torbert. The soccer season also in full swing now. Former Numera Colts product of the Gold Coast Premier League. The baseball prowess. I know you're getting ready to call some some playoff baseball there in Greenville. Alex Destino, Eric Whiteson of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays fame. Of course, Destino, who played at the University of South Carolina. And sticking with football, Jeremy Laster in the 90s, Western North Carolina rushing record fame, and Randy Presley, who went to Western Carolina. Who out of this group is going to make their mark on behalf of North Buncombe? Only the future will tell. .22 points on the board on a night, win 22. Hayden Burnett broke loose on more than one occasion. He had a 45-yard run in the first quarter, followed it up with a 98-yard touchdown run in the second period. Inside a couple of minutes remaining in the first half. Really settled there when you look back at it. Madison had chances but never could break through in the red zone. A field goal and a long touchdown drive later, and North Buncombe is in command. But there is no quit in this Madison group. Patriots, not only are they going to have the first down on this beautiful connection on the far side, but the Patriots, it would appear, depending upon how the flags shake out, may be able to tack a little more yards on the end of it.
How about that? 4th and 19, and that sophomore combination of Dallas Bartlett to Gavin Galt. I mean, that's going to be a good combination for the next couple of years. Those two we mentioned earlier teamed up on a 66-yard touchdown reception against Hayesville on the last play of the game.
Impact against Hayesville. More work here. Try to keep hope alive. You know, you can always say, as you get a look at the personal foul call, and here's what happened at the end of things, which was deemed by the officiating crew as a little too much, and it sets the Patriots up at the 30. You know, we always make that statement, stranger things have happened, because they have in 2:39, which can be an eternity in the sport. But the style of play for these two teams and make it very tough for this Madison squad to power all the way back, but they're certainly inching closer here, as that's near the marker for what would be another first down, and it is going to be enough. Galt again. Move the chains one more time, and the clock stops at 2:32 to play.
Yeah, a little quick out, nothing fancy there. Go down, take it to the sideline. Good timing pattern there.
Clock rolling after the brief stoppage for the reset of the chains. And driven out of bounds is Levi Shelton, the other of the 22s, making headlines tonight. Shelton had the 73-yard kick return, the special teams moment that is still responsible for all of Madison's scoring, and his catch here puts the Patriots back in the First Bank red zone.
And it was a tackle by
Who do you think?
Jacob. I mean, Eubanks made the play there as well. He's on both sides of the ball as well. We talked about Jacob Nix as well, and Jackson Eubanks there right next to one another in the linebacking core.
Another of the Iron Men in this contest tonight. Running near side is Bartlett, and Bartlett, the Patriots quarterback, is run out of bounds. Got the appropriate name for that, right? You think about the old show West Wing back in the 90s. You got a Bartlett at quarterback for the Patriots.
There you go.
The nod to obviously Madison and the great history. But what a moving moment with the anthem we had before the game tonight. And everything about this evening here in Western North Carolina, a reminder of all the things about community that make Friday nights special. And we're certainly glad you've joined us for a part of it tonight. Big lick landed by Levi Shelton as he has the first offensive touchdown of the night for the Patriots of Madison. Did we mention no quit in the Patriots? As Madison is into the end zone offensively, and just like that, at 2:06 to play, it would seem they've been able to inch a little closer, but you saw the indication of holding, which is going to bring this back. And boy, that's mindful of much of what the Patriots dealt with early in the game tonight. Right there on the verge, a couple of big runs called back on the opening drive. More than one red zone opportunity that was not to be. And this is more of the same as that touchdown is taken off the board.
2:06 to go. They still have the opportunity, but boy, they set that up beautifully. The hold had something to do with it, obviously.
Red zone opportunity continues, and here's Bartlett again, far side. And he has given a valiant effort on this night. Was just going to say there, Tom, to finish up that thought. We were part of pregame, the band, all the pageantry, and in a world in many ways so dominated by the pursuit of other things. A night where it's about the athletes, about the community, about the competition, and about the rivalry is refreshing.
And you and I and the crew, particularly the crew, are here very early, and the band was out here. I mean,
yes,
they work just as hard in what they want to present, and they have their opportunity under the lights as well, and did a really nice job as well this evening.
Marching Black Hawks. As they formed upside down 85, they handled the halftime responsibilities tonight, putting another of the memorable moments for these fans together. 1:45 to play here. 22-6 our score. And second down coming from the First Bank red zone for this Madison Patriots squad. That is, keep in mind, not just a matter of style points. This is a team looking for its first offensive touchdown of the night. The special teams score responsible for the 6 on the board for the Patriots. And, I go back to 1 year ago, a 70-yard run by the talented quarterback, Caden Hilleman, who put together the great year a season ago. And then they onside kicked the ball, Tom, got it back, scored again quickly. So look no further than a year ago, 14 quick points in this rivalry for the Patriots. They need that type performance here. Step one, nearly corralled, as it is in and out of the hands of the intended target, Gavin Galt, one more time.
And that was a good matchup with Kobe Akins in the back of the end zone there, and almost made a spectacular catch. Put it in good defensive positioning as well, but just able to get a hand on it there. Man, well done by both. Good throw.
Looks like that last second swat of the receiver's arm once he had caught the football by Akins made all the difference. Didn't get that pick earlier, right? But he certainly had the big defensive play here. Been in the right place at the right time more than once tonight. That would have been a touchdown with 1:40 to play to tighten the score a bit. Looking for it just a few seconds beyond it, and defensive play turned in by Xavier Banks Tennant again, but the flags came in from behind him as he reached around the intended receiver.
So you got there a little bit too early. But Madison continuing to battle here, and if you just joined us, you were kind of rehashing how it had developed. Let's get one more look at it. I mean, that's pretty good. Had his hand on his left shoulder. Good call.
Well, in North Buncombe, very content right now, Tom, to continue to trade a few yards here and a few yards there for 10 or 15 more seconds off that game clock, as they now find themselves 96 seconds removed from a 3-0 start on the year.
But Madison, to go back and look at some lost opportunities that they did have. Now, the North Buncombe defense made some really good plays when they needed to in the first half.
Again, Shelton, and he gets inside the 5 and down to the 2, and there's going to be another 4th and goal coming. At the 125 mark, everything comes to a halt. A 4th down after the timeout coming, and boy, Tom, you talk about 22 fittingly being on the scoreboard for North Buncombe after the way.
Yes.
Number 22, Hayden Burnett, played tonight. How about that?
Yeah.
The fact that Madison is on the doorstep again to close the ball game. is somewhat of a fitting snapshot of what we saw all evening as well.
Well, I think it's indicative of the program and where they want to go, and the coaching staff to be able to keep their team and continue. The game is essentially over at this point, but they continue to fight and the old clutch, scratch and claw, and try to finish up with something positive. We talked about how they finished up with Hayesville with the touchdown pass at the end. And, for those that weren't with us, had opportunities on fourth down and didn't come out of there with any points. And there were some big plays in the first half, but you go back to the end of the first half when it was fourth down and in their own territory, and they went for it and made it. Next week, we're at Greer and Byrnes. Those two are going to go at it. High school football in the state of South Carolina will flip back and forth throughout the course of the year. And Byrnes with Bobby Bentley and company, man, did they get it going there. And we know how successful those in South Carolina and our viewing area with Will Young and Greer and what they've been able to accomplish.
Became one of the great powers in the early 2000s, that Byrnes team. Think about Chris Miller, what he did. Will have his Gaffney team more than once across the course of the season as he's now on that staff. And you think about it, a back that moved over, made a big moment for Byrnes. They're highly regarded this year. Going to be a fun one. The fourth down try turned away again. And there it is, the snapshot of what North Buncombe did defensively on this night to put the finishing touches in many ways on the W.
Well, we had talked pregame with David Hines about his team. They'd scored so many points, but look at them be able to corral it there. And it was Eli Morgan, I think it was
Philip Svetlob.
Yes. Those two combining to make the tackle there. They have given up some yardage, but when they have been able to, when they've needed to make a play, they've been able to do it tonight on fourth down.
Well, and
that's
now
4 or 5 of them
inside their own 5-yard line. The latest of the scoring chances turned aside. And with
be careful.
17 to play, you said it. All of a sudden you're looking at 22-8 and you're kicking off if you're not careful, and here's a flag. You never rest easy if you're in those coaching ranks, right? You can say for the last several minutes of game action, it has appeared as if North Buncombe's right there from just saying ball game, but they never come easy, particularly when you've waited as long for the stringing together of the 3 wins that we've seen for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. This will, however, this penalty provide a little more breathing room for that victory formation.
And they're headed to Brevard. I've done high school and college games from there. And then they've got AC Reynolds here, TC Robertson as well, back-to-back. McDowell, Inca, Asheville, and Irwin. So that's the schedule coming up for North Buncombe. And right into conference play for Madison, they go to Mitchell, Swain County. And they've got games at Drawn, Avery County, Mountain Heritage, and at Owen. There are some impressive games that will be played here at North Buncombe. And also one note too, Jason, on Madison is that with the stadium renovations that they've had, and kudos to Morris Hill to providing an opportunity for them to play some games there. And there's been a lot of, we talked about community support between these 2 schools, and they have allowed access here, I believe, at North Buncombe for Madison to play some soccer, some things like that while they're working on their football stadium.
Well, and that goes to that storyline about community partnerships that has run thick throughout the night. And, the future bright when you see what we have seen from both of these teams across the course of this night. But this is the moment one of the sides of this rivalry looks forward to each year, and that is putting that field general in the victory formation. In this case, it's Alex Rash, thanks to the solid work of Hayden Burnett and his surrounding cast tonight. He will put his knee into the turf as the clock rolls under a minute to play. All around impressive victory for the Black Hawks of North Buncombe.
Well, Madison had won the last 2. Prior to that, North Buncombe had won 3, and prior to that, Madison had won 2. So the last 8, it'll be 4 apiece. There goes.
You may have heard the crowd react and the cheer rising to the late night skies here in North Carolina. That's because the water jug, the Gatorade bucket, was just received by the head man on that North Buncombe sideline. What a job he did tonight, he and his staff. And what a job the young men under their direction did to turn Madison aside time and again. And guess what? The jug going to be right here in Weaverville.
There it is.
We will break away, come back to wrap this latest edition of North Buncombe Madison on the other side.
Next week, the Black Hawks will travel to Byrnes to take on the Blue Devils. Kick off at 7:30. And the following Friday, September the 15th, they'll return back here home to take on the AC Reynolds Rockets. Kickoff will be at 7 p.m. And there's the time. Back in Black Hawk country.
Paper mache.
Well, the jug is back in Black Hawk country. A win of 22-6. As you see the celebration moment for North Buncombe. Tom, not just this rivalry victory, but the start to the season for North Buncombe, the storyline, as they've reeled off 3 in a row now. Just a tremendous beginning for a group of young men who kept believing, and tonight they've shown their fight again.
It probably was very difficult when you lose 18 consecutive games and to win 3 straight.
Well, here is the victorious head coach of the Black Hawks of North Buncombe with Nelson.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, first thing is first, congratulations on a phenomenal win. This was billed as a great rivalry matchup. How you feeling right now?
Well, it'll hit me in a little bit, but it's a great win for the kids, for the community. 2 great football traditions over time. And this rivalry goes back forever. And for us to get it this year, it's big for our program and for our kids.
And with tonight's win, you guys are going up 3-0. So it kind of begs the fundamental question. What can we expect in week 4 and for the remainder of the season?
Our job's to get better week by week. So we've got to get better starting Monday.
All right, we'll get better. First of all, we're getting this trophy in your hand. Congratulations, team!
Well, I think that filling the jug up, Tom, and making sure that one of the first sips of that full water that's needed for rehydration goes to Hayden Burnett. What a night he put together. You think about the 45-yard touchdown run, followed that up with a 98-yarder. Just the headliner with the 2 scores tonight that made the difference for North Buncombe. His work and the work of the defense getting the job done.
Yeah, you're getting the look as he hit 45, 98-yard runs for touchdowns tonight. And, Madison hung in there, gave themselves an opportunity, but some really good defensive stands proved to be pivotal in this game for North Buncombe as well, besides the big plays.
Well, thanks for joining us on this night in Weaverville. Fans now and students starting to dump out onto the field as the jug has been reclaimed by the Black Hawks of North Buncombe. 22-6 winners over the Madison Patriots in the rivalry game. It is Black Hawks over Patriots. We'll see you in Greer next weekend as Byrnes travels to take on the Jackets. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.
This is the big time. Ever since my boots first hit these streets, had to scratch and claw, made me hard to beat. They were real early mornings and late nights. Had to put in the time.